and welcome to This is USG, a video podcast by the universities at Shady Grove. 9 universities, 1 campus, great results. I'm Khademian, Executive Director of USG. USG is indeed proud to have 9 university partners today. And when we were founded back in 2000, one of the original partners, still with us to this day, was Bowie State University. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome to our show Dr. Aminta Breaux, who is president of Bowie State and the current chair of the statewide University System of Maryland Presidents Council. She has served since 2017 as president of Bowie State, bringing to the institution more than 30 years of higher education experience and a powerful and exciting vision for BSU's future. At the heart of this vision is a strategic focus on entrepreneurship and advancing an entrepreneurial mindset for all BSU students. We'll talk more about this great work in our conversation ahead. Among the many honors that Dr. Breaux has received is the Educator of the Year Award from the National Council of Negro Women and the Trailblazer Awards from the Bowie Business Innovation Center. I could go on for quite some time with her impressive bio, but instead I'm going to stop there so we can get right into our conversation. So Dr. Breaux, welcome to This is USG.
Thank you, Ann. It's wonderful to be with you today. I'm really pleased to be on the program and to be able to share what's happening at Bowie State University.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know how busy you are, and I've had the opportunity to visit your beautiful campus and to see Bowie State in person, and just such an impressive, gorgeous campus. And I look forward to visiting again sometime soon. Let's start with your path to Bowie State, to the presidency. Could you tell us a little bit about what brought you to higher education leadership and why you came to Bowie?
Well, it has been quite a journey and a wonderful journey. I have been in higher education for some years at both public and private institutions before coming to Bowie State University. I started out my career at the University of Pennsylvania, and you're going to hear a trend here. I then went on to Drexel University. I was there for about 10 years, left as assistant provost before I went to University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. I think you hear a trend line there, Philadelphia area universities. And then I moved further west. I ran out of all the West Philadelphia universities and then went a little further west to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I was with Millersville, part of the state system universities up in Pennsylvania, part of PASHE, before I found wonderful, beautiful Bowie State University. And I've been here since 2017, as you said, and it's been a delight. It's been a full joy. What I want to share with you about my journey, because so often when we talk about our careers, people will think, oh, it's very unilateral. In fact, I've been in different areas of the academic setting in student affairs, academic affairs, and then institutional advancement, working to grow the funds and resources for the university. And that was at Millersville before coming here to become president. And so I've been in different areas of higher education, and each step along the way has been such a learning experience and a wonderful and rewarding experience. But at the heart and soul of everything I do at this level as president, what really energizes me each and every day is working with students. And I've learned that about myself throughout this journey, is I must have student contact and each and every day be able to hear from them what's going on for them, what their goals are, their aspirations. And it has helped me in good stead to maintain that wonderful student contact.
You know, I'm so glad you focused on your inspiration in working with students. During my visit to Bowie, it was so clear, students felt so comfortable to come up to you and say hello, and you would ask them, how is their day going, what's happening, and they all could share with you what was happening. First of all, to have that kind of relationship with the student population is fantastic. Says so much about your leadership. But I also am so impressed by your focus on all the different areas that you have led in across the academic enterprise. And all towards serving students. But I wonder if you could reflect a little bit on your leadership style. I see in there a lot of connection to community, a lot of connection to students, a lot of focus on empowerment, empowering students. I see in your team around you, a lot of empowerment of your team. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how you approach leading a major institution. What is your philosophy that guides you in how you do this work? Or a set of core ideas that drive the work that you do?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I have a clear perspective on understanding I cannot lead this institution by myself. You need a good team. And especially, we know that, especially today, as we've gone through so much of an upheaval through this pandemic, through the social justice issues in our country, and the intersection of those two, it's unprecedented. We all know that. And it's a must to build a team. You have to have individuals who feel that they are part of a bigger vision. They understand the vision, where they fit into that vision. And so throughout my career, I really have worked hard to ensure that I have a team around me. That requires a collaborative style of leadership, and making sure that I'm sharing information about the vision, where we're going, and ensuring everyone feels that they're able to contribute to that vision. We each have our own strengths and weaknesses, and I strongly believe it's important for myself as a leader to understand that those around me can help complement where I might have those weaknesses, and others can really help be part of that team and be part of that vision. So I'm a collaborative leader. I strongly believe that we need to help everyone reach their greatest potential and to support those who are on the team with us. So here at Bowie State University, one of the programs that I'm very proud of is our BSU Women's Forum. That is a group of outstanding women across the campus, faculty, staff, and students who are working to enrich and support other women, to make sure that we're lifting them up and ensuring they're reaching their greatest potential. That's just one example of how I believe we help to build a team here at BSU, empowering women, empowering so many people from across the campus to reach their greatest potential. And it's just been a joy to be here. We're a very close-knit community here at BSU. And I think that is a great fit with what happens here on the campus. And you said you saw firsthand of how students come up to me and they talk to me. They need to feel a part of this institution. It's not a top-down. I see our students in partnership in education, us understanding where they are and meeting them where they are, and making sure that we hear their ideas. And we have such bright students today arriving on our campuses. And I just think it's like no other time since I've been in higher education, where there's so much information at their fingertips. They need to be a part of the vision, and they're at the core of the vision that I have. So collaborative style, making sure that everyone feels a part of the vision and that they're able to use their unique talents to contribute to that vision.
I love the focus on in partnership with students for the future. That's very descriptive and fantastic. It takes me right into thinking about your focus on entrepreneurship at Bowie State, and all of the points you've made about partnership and collaboration and empowerment. You see that in this vision that you've articulated so incredibly around entrepreneurship at Bowie State, and this idea that everybody can be an entrepreneur in their skill set, their thinking, their problem solving. It's not just about business. It's about your approach, your engagement with the world. Talk a little bit about how this vision has come forward. And I don't mean to just narrow it down. Maybe it reaches, I know, beyond entrepreneurship as well, but it's so much at the core of how you're thinking about student success and how you're thinking about your team and how you measure the success of Bowie. And so I wonder if you could talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, what it means for your vision, and how you came to this focus on entrepreneurship as such a vital part of the future of ESU?
Well, I look at the change that we're going through in higher education, and the world is changing rapidly. Technology has significantly impacted on every workplace. We live in a global economy that has its own impact on businesses and industry and how they're shaping their vision and their future. And in order for our students to be successful, to me, it's self-evident that our students need to be prepared for uncertainty in the world. We don't know what all of the jobs will be in the next 5 to 10 years with so much change happening. So then how do you prepare today's graduates to meet the needs of tomorrow's workforce, not knowing what those jobs may be in the future? And for me, entrepreneurship, and more than just creating a product or a business, here at Bowie State University, it's ensuring that every student is armed with an entrepreneurial mindset to face the uncertainties of the future. And that requires a different way of thinking about the world. Our students, in order to be successful, need to understand that they can't sit back and wait for change to happen to them because it's happening all around them. And so empowering students to become more innovative about their approach to the world, to the workplaces, I think is key. Innovation, creativity, and taking that with them to inspire the workplaces of today, and to be more out in the forefront, not waiting for an employer to come in and say, well, here's what you need to do. Our students, in my vision, they will be prepared to help lead and go to that employer and say, hey, I see this on the horizon. Here's how I believe I can provide value-added benefit back to you. Did you think about, are you considering and leading in that change, and not being, sitting back and waiting for change to happen to them? And so with the digital changes happening, with the economy, with demographics reshaping workplaces, today DEI is huge for every employer. So what is the value that our graduates can bring to all of these discussions happening in the workplace? And then I strongly believe students need to understand that with the evolution of these workplaces, there may be that time when they may need to start their own business through mergers and acquisitions. So what tools do our students need to have to embark on that journey? And that's where, again, entrepreneurship and having that entrepreneurial thinking comes into play. Not waiting for that change to happen, but pivoting, navigating, and reshaping their career path or changing direction that might be necessary in the lives of our students. And so it's about an entrepreneurial mindset, helping our students to contribute to any workplace, but if need be, creating their own business or their own product, and knowing how to do that, having those tools to do that. So we're really excited about the new space that we have on campus, the entrepreneurial living learning community that bridges learning environments from the classroom into the real world. And I'm just so thrilled that we're able to have that new facility. It just opened in August. We cut the ribbon back in August, and it's home to 3 components. The Bowie Business Innovation Center, a wonderful partner, a separate 501c3 from the university that partners with us and connects us to the larger entrepreneurial ecosystem, providing mentors for our students and for other small and startup businesses. And then we have our own Entrepreneurship Academy, providing supports to students with accelerator space and incubator space and maker spaces in that building. And right there in that same facility is a residence hall. So a student can get up at any time of the night, and they do, and they can just go downstairs and they can go into that maker space, or they can sit in a space and create and innovate. And that's bridging the learning for our students, supporting them where they are today. And we're just so excited about having that new space to create and help enhance that entrepreneurial mindset.
It is a beautiful space. I was thinking about the dorms I lived in college.
We don't call what we have dorms anymore. It's definitely so far beyond that. I remember what we had in college, and I'm sure it looked similar with the cinder block, and you
Yeah.
were trying to decorate how you were going to, envision your cinder block in the room and paste over it. It's very different.
Yeah.
The environment today for our students in that space is incredible. It's exciting. It's what learning should be about. Energizing everyone in that space to think and create new ideas.
Yeah, even the color scheme, the orange and yet reds and yellows and how bright they are. It's a very beautiful, inspiring space, and it really does. Even the design of the building flows with the design and development of ideas, and so just so beautifully done. Congratulations on that building and on.
Thank you. A team effort, a team effort. We've had great developers with Balfour Beatty Smoot, who helped with that design, and they understood the vision that I was looking for. And so thank you for those kind words.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of entrepreneurial leadership, as the president, as the chair of the Presidents Council, you've had quite a responsibility through COVID. All of the presidents have had to work so hard and collaboratively through this time with the chancellor and everyone throughout the system. Tell us a little bit about some of the lessons learned from your perspective, working closely with all the other presidents during this time of COVID, this need to collaborate, so much uncertainty. I think a lot of creativity and leadership emerged from this process. Could you share with us some of your thoughts or reflections or lessons learned from this time, especially in your role with the council, with the President's Council?
Well, I first have to start with my own campus and what I learned. I learned that I have some amazing faculty, staff, and students so dedicated to student success, ensuring students are able to achieve their education. And we did a pivot that was so quick, and we didn't have much time to change course as the pandemic was escalating and spreading. And with that, I just realized that there's some just truly committed individuals on this campus and across the system. With regard to the system, we were so very fortunate to have the strong leadership that we have with our chancellor. The chancellor, Jay Perman, he's a physician by training and just an incredible leader in general. But during this time of this major health crisis, to have him at the helm was huge. He very quickly brought us together as a system very early on in the pandemic. And I dare say earlier than what I saw, just across the board. He saw on the horizon that we needed to come together and unite as a system. And he brought us together to share ideas, to help figure out the course. And indeed, we continue throughout the pandemic and today, meeting across the system as system presidents and leaders to share best practices to the extent we know them, share the data, share science. And the science was evolving, and we were learning new things about this virus. And as we were sharing information, we were able to then make, I would argue, good educated decisions. There was so much uncertainty, but as a system, we were able to hear different ideas and share the data and get up to speed on the most recent information we needed to know to make these critical decisions. When times were really tough and we're looking for supplies, as every company and organization was, as a system, we were able to come together and help one another through testing, contact tracing, and figure out, well, what is the best course given the data and the science that we had. And so it's been a huge, huge benefit to be part of a system where we could benefit from the experts in the field, from UMB and others, these expert leaders in the medical profession, and just from my own colleagues from across the system. I do believe it's the commitment here on my campus, as well as that larger system, that made a huge difference for my own campus. Throughout this pandemic, the positivity rate for Bowie State University has remained under 2%. That doesn't come lightly. It comes with a lot of teamwork, a lot of sharing, communication, frequent communication, staying up to speed on the best practices, the new data, the new science. And so it's been a huge benefit to be a part of that systemness that we talk about as campus presidents and leaders across the system.
Yeah, the sharing of best practices, the kind of constant engagement, the challenges, just that forum, that weekly forum of being able to share ideas and things, I think was huge. And so, yeah, I agree. A system response has been a very powerful one and very helpful for all of us.
Definitely.
So, Bowie has been one of our longest partners here at the universities at Shady Grove, and wonderfully so. And there's a new program, two new programs coming, one in counseling psychology, and the other a certificate in addiction. And I think both of these certificates, both this degree program and the certificate program, are so important as we're looking to even through the pandemic, the opioid crisis that we have here in this country, and really the need to focus on addiction and treatment, and just the mental health crisis that we are facing now, especially coming out of the pandemic. Your background is in psychology and in counseling, and your educational background. Talk a little bit about the importance of these certificates, why these programs, what do you see as the future and the potential of these programs, and especially here at Shady Grove?
That's an excellent question. What I see is what I think so many each and every day are seeing, and if you pick up a newspaper, turn on the news, mental health, behavioral health is definitely a growing concern. It's a major concern today. It was prior to the pandemic, and the pandemic has further exacerbated the issues that we're facing across our communities. Individuals who are encountering just a wide array of concerns, and we need to graduate more students in these fields to ensure that our communities are supported, that we have a pipeline that's going to help our communities heal. There's a great concern about from opioid addictions, and we were addressing that prior to the pandemic, and had garnered great support through our federal government with new grants, where Bowie State University was partnering with other community organizations to address a train the trainer kind of model, because we need more behavioral health counselors. And I fear that we're not picking up steam fast enough for all the issues that we're facing. So to be able to partner and have programs at Shady Grove is critical for enriching our communities, building a better pipeline into these essential fields. And it increases our reach beyond our campus community. And I do think that there's so much more we can do together in the vicinity of Shady Grove, but even beyond. Now that we have more programs online, we're delivering more course content online, I think we have greater flexibility to have an even greater reach. And these courses are going to be, and they are essential for the healing in our communities. The Master of Counseling Psychology, I know that there is a huge demand out here in the market. And what we need to do is to promote and market more across the region to help individuals see that this is a pathway to addressing life's and our societal issues that we're facing. And I mentioned earlier in our conversation about the two crises that we've faced. It was the pandemic, yes, But prior to the pandemic, it was the opioid addictions, and that has even worsened during the pandemic. But then there's the issues that we're facing as a society with social injustice and the intersection of those. And we've seen great disparities in Black and Brown communities. We need more help in these communities to help address the issues themselves, but we still also face a stigma in this country around behavioral and mental health. We've got to overcome that and talk more about it. You see now more role models coming out and speaking about these issues. And I say good for them because it helps others to see they're not alone. And we need to continue, again, that pipeline to address these critical issues that are in every area of our communities. So I'm very, very grateful that we're able to partner in this way. We have been a longstanding presence at Shady Grove with our education programs, our Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, our Master of Education, School Administration and Supervision. And let me just speak to that as well, because that too is in great need. We need more going into education. Our teachers, our administrators are facing an unprecedented time. And we need to prepare our administrators and our teachers with new models for who's sitting in the classroom, who's in those seats. Learners have changed. We need new models. We know that there are issues around Black and Brown communities where we need new models for more males going into higher education. We're seeing that impact on our college campuses with an imbalance of male with gender ratios. And we need to address that. And so when we look at all of these issues and coming to a head, there's a great deal of room for us to increase the work that we're doing. And that's what I see for the future. Bowie State University has partnered with Montgomery College in creating more of a pipeline. We've developed more new programs to address the pipeline. We're looking to do more 2+2 programs to enhance more certificate and badging, certificates and badges, because there are different and varying needs in both of these areas, in psychology, but also in education. And that's just for starters. I think there's a great deal for us to do on the STEM front. We're very strong in STEM. And we all know that cybersecurity risks are huge for every organization. So there's so much more we could be doing in cybersecurity, data analytics, and there's quite a great deal of need in the workplace today, in the workforce. So it's my hope that this is just at the beginning stages of what we can provide in the at Shady Grove, but also for the larger community.
Yeah, I think there are so many, the growth of the programs is a good place to begin, right? I see these programs really grow as you point out, to meet that need. But there are all kinds of interesting possibilities, including in the area of entrepreneurship, I think, as well. And thinking about how we can extend, we have our own lab for entrepreneurship here, headed by Mark Starin, and we're really interested in how we can expand some of the entrepreneurial thinking and entrepreneurial mindset to students here as well. So we have a lot to learn from you, and I hope there's a lot of ways that we can collaborate on building on that entrepreneurial mindset focus as well, and some of the work that we're doing. So we've covered a lot of territory, and it brings me to a kind of a bigger, deeper question. And I've heard you talk very passionately about the importance of empowering students and students leaning into the future, and taking the reins on problems, and really not standing back and waiting, but taking the lead and initiating on the work ahead, and problem solving. And you've talked about programs that lean into challenges, and that really tackle the big problems that we face. From where you sit, Dr. Breaux, as president of this prestigious university, what is the future of higher education in terms of tackling some of our biggest problems? And I mean in the sense that you mentioned social justice, racial justice. we are a divided country right now in so many ways. We are struggling, our democracy is struggling because of the divisions and the challenges we face. And we've seen it in COVID. Do you believe in science or you don't believe in science? And what does that look like? And higher education institutions have always been part of the fabric of democracy. I'm wondering what you think is the future. Where should we be focusing? Is there a shift and a change? Is there a different kind of emphasis we need to be making? Do we just need to pour more into higher education or into education in general? What are your thoughts on the future and the role of higher education in addressing some of the challenges we face, particularly in our democracy?
Well, in many respects, while we're rapidly changing as an institution in higher education, I do think there is great benefit to going back to basics. The basics being the liberal arts curriculum that helps empower students to think critically, to communicate effectively, to write, to use their platform, their voice, to speak out and contribute to our democracy, because democracy doesn't just happen. We are the democracy. It is our voices, our individual, and then our collective voices that make a difference in our democracy. So I think helping our students to better understand where they fit in and how they contribute, how our democracy works, is a key. And I do think we've stepped back as a country from that and not ensuring, not just in higher education, but K through 12th grade, that our students are prepared to be part of this democracy, contributing, making sure that they go out and vote, but knowing how voting works and understand how going to the polls is part of being, it's part of living in a democratic society and having that one vote, one voice count, and understanding it does matter. And I think we've lost some of that, and educating our students, not just in higher education, but this is where I see that we can partner with K through 12th grade, P through 12th grade, and ensuring that students coming into our higher ed institutions are prepared with an understanding, a contextual knowledge about how our country works and how they fit into it. And that is something that, and you're absolutely right, it's been the hallmark of higher education for a very long time, but we've lost sight of that essential piece of higher education and its purpose. And yes, we want students to have a good return on their investment in their education, but part of that is in ensuring that students can contribute back to their community. So here at BSU, when students come for new student orientation, we talk to them about finding their sense of purpose for what they're studying. So yes, you're studying nursing, or you're going to study criminal justice, or whatever you're going to study, but then what? What do you do with that? And we're a public university. We're the first historically Black college and university, and we're also a public university. And we're here for the public good. And that means that you contribute back. And from day one, when students come in, we encourage them to give back time, talent, and treasure. Get engaged with your community. Bowie State University is your new community. New student, what are you going to do to make it better than the way you found it? The fact that we exist today is because of those who came before, and they made sure that Bowie State University was here. Otherwise, they face huge struggles. As the first HBCU founded in 1865, as slavery was ending, imagine what those individuals at that time, starting at Bowie State University, encountered. Imagine that first class that came through Bowie State University. So there's no reason, when you think about that legacy that's been handed off to us, there's no reason why we should back off from doing our work to prepare the next generation to contribute and enrich this community and the larger community, and making sure we leave this country better than the way that we found it. And yes, we have this polarization that's happening in our country, but higher education has a huge role to play. But we have to partner. We can't do it alone. It's difficult to gain ground when you have 12 years that came before. And if we're not teaching civic education earlier, it's very difficult to overturn a mindset. So we really need to help our students prepare to come into higher education. And in higher education, that liberal arts curriculum, I still believe, is that foundation that every student should have before they graduate, to help them to think independently for themselves, to learn, to take in all this information they have at their fingertips on the internet and wherever they're getting their information, and make sense of the world. And that is where critical thinking comes into play, being able to discern fact from fiction, to drill down on questions, to ask those important questions, know how to communicate effectively, to ask those important questions and then take in information and then communicate their own opinions, form their own opinions based on that important information and those skills that they have. So I think it's, what is that saying? Everything old is new again. I do think we need to look to the past to pave the way forward. And yes, we're going through change, and we will need to create new models for educating our students today. But let's not lose sight of what got us where we are today as a democratic society, and hold true to that and hold it tight, because it can be very fragile if you lose focus.
What powerful words, and so meaningful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I also wanted to say congratulations. I know you were the recipient, the Bowie State was the recipient from Mackenzie Scott of a wonderful gift that again speaks to your vision and to the accomplishments and all the good work ahead for Bowie State University. So
Thank you.
absolutely. So I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today and for sharing your vision. And thank you for your leadership of Bowie State. As a new member of the University System of Maryland family, I must say it is inspiring to see a woman such as yourself lead, and very, educational and hopeful for me as well as I try to make my way in bringing about change and doing what's right for all of our students. So thank you for the example that you set for all of us.
Thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for mentioning Mackenzie Scott, a true philanthropist. We owe so much to her for providing the largest gift we've ever received, and making that a leadership gift to inspire others. And indeed, she's done just that. And we owe her so much praise, and just her gracious generosity made an impact here. And we thank her, and I thank you for what you're doing at Shady Grove. And I look forward to partnering more with you and having more students on the campus at Shady Grove. So thank you.
Absolutely. We look forward to all of that growth as well. And thank you so much for your time today. You have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye now.